and welcome. We will begin with hymn number 321. Supreme in wisdom as in power, the rock of ages stands. Canst thou not search his word and trace the working of his hands? Number 321. The focus of tonight's readings is handling trials. Job from the Bible. There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job. And that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, and 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doth Job fear God for naught? Hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. There came a messenger unto Job, and said, The oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them. And the Sabaeans fell upon them, and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, the fire of God is fallen from heaven, and hath burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, The Chaldeans made out 3 bands, and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came another and said, Thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house. And it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Then Job arose, and rent his mantle, and shaved his head, and fell down on the ground, and worshipped, and said, Naked came out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this, Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. And the Lord said unto Satan, From whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and eschewed evil? And still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movedst me against them, to destroy him without cause. And Satan answered the Lord and said, Skin for skin, yea, all that a man hath will he give for his life. But put forth thine hand now, and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord, and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown. And he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. Then said his wife unto him, Dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God, and die. In all this did not Job sin with his lips. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. For thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. and thou shalt know that thy tabernacle shall be in peace. But Job answered and said, Oh, that my grief were thoroughly weighed and my calamity laid in the balances together. For now it would be heavier than the sand of the sea. Therefore my words are swallowed up. Then answered Bildad the Shuhite, and said, How long wilt thou speak these things? And how long shall the words of thy mouth be like a strong wind? Doth God pervert judgment? Or does the Almighty pervert justice? Behold, God will not cast away a perfect man, neither will he help the evildoers, till he fill thy mouth with laughing and thy lips with rejoicing. Then Job answered and said, I know it is so of a truth, but how should a man be just with God? If he will contend with him, he cannot answer him 1 of 1,000. He is wise in heart and mighty in strength. Who hath hardened himself against them and hath prospered? My soul is weary of my life. I will leave my complaint upon myself. I will speak in the bitterness of my soul. I will say unto God, do not condemn me. Show me wherefore thou contendest with me. Is it good unto thee that thou shouldest oppress, that thou shouldest despise the work of thine hands, and shine upon the counsel of the wicked? Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, Is not God in the height of heaven? And behold, the height of the stars, how high they are. And then Job answered and said, Oh, that I knew where I might find them, that I might come even to his seat. Behold, I go forward, but he's not there, and backward, but I cannot perceive him. My righteousness I hold fast, and will not let it go. My heart shall not reproach me, so long as I live. If I have walked with vanity, or if my foot hath hasted to deceit, let me be weighed in an even balance, that God may know my integrity. If I have seen any perish for want of clothing, or any poor without covering, if his loins have not blessed me, and if he were not warmed with the fleece of my sheep, if I have lifted up my hand against the fatherless, when I saw my help in the gate, then let my arm fall from my shoulder blade, and my arm be broken from the bone. If I had made gold my hope, or have said to the fine gold, thou art my confidence, if I rejoiced because my wealth was great, And because mine hand had gotten much, if I beheld the sun when it shined, or the moon walking in the brightness, and my heart hath been secretly enticed, or my mouth hath kissed my hand, this also were an iniquity to be punished by the judge, for I should have denied the God that is above. So these three men ceased to answer Job, because he was righteous in his own eyes. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind, and said, Who's this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding. Who hath laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest? Or who hath stretched the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy, or who shut out the sea with doors when it brake forth, as if it had issued out of the mouth of the womb? When I made the cloud the garment thereof, and thick darkness a swaddling band for it, and break up for it my decreed place, and set bars and doors, and said, Hitherto shalt thou come, but no further. And here shall thy proud waves be stayed. Hast thou commanded the morning since thy days, and caused the dayspring to know his place? Knowest thou the ordinances of heaven? Canst thou set the dominion thereof in the earth? Canst thou lift up thy voice to the clouds, that abundance of water may cover thee? Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts? Or who hath given understanding to the heart? Moreover, the Lord answered Job and said, Shall he that contendeth with the Almighty instruct him? He that reproveth God, let him answer it. Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that thou canst do everything, and that no thought can be withholden from thee. Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me which I knew not. Hear, I beseech thee, and I will speak. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now mine eye seeth thee. Wherefore I abhor myself, and repent in dust and ashes. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep, and 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she-asses. After this lived Job 140 years, and saw his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. 2 Corinthians. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. I'll also read correlative passages from the Christian Science textbook, Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures by Mary Baker Eddy. Spiritual development germinates not from seeds sown in the soul, on the soil of material hopes, but when these decay, love propagates anew the higher joys of spirit, which have no taint of earth. Each successive stage of experience unfolds new views of divine goodness and love. If your endeavors are beset by fearful odds, and you receive no present reward, go not back to error, not become a sluggard in the race. Love is not hasty to deliver us from temptation, for love means that we shall be tried and purified. Final deliverance from error, whereby we rejoice in immortality, boundless freedom, and sinless sense, is not reached through paths of flowers, nor by pinning one's faith without works to another's vicarious effort. Whosoever believeth that wrath is righteous, or that divinity is appeased by human suffering, does not understand God. Individuals are consistent who, watching and praying, can run and not be weary, walk and not faint, who gain good rapidly and hold their position, or attain slowly and yield not to discouragement. When we wait patiently on God and seek truth righteously, He directs our paths. Every trial of our faith in God makes us strongest. The more difficult seems the material condition to be overcome by spirit, the stronger should be our faith, and the purer our love. We must have trials and self-denials, as well as joys and victories, until all error is destroyed. Let's pray silently for a moment or two, and then we'll repeat together the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Our second hymn is number 351. Through the night of doubt and sorrow, onward goes the pilgrim band, singing songs of expectation, marching to the promised land. Clear before us through the darkness, gleams and burns the guiding light. Brother clasps the hand of brother, stepping fearless through the night. Number 351. The members of this church extend a warm welcome to those in the congregation who are visiting us this evening. If you would like more information about Christian Science, please ask an usher for assistance. This church is a branch of the Mother Church, the First Church of Christ Scientist in Boston, Massachusetts. The Bible lesson sermon read here and in Christian Science churches throughout the world on Sunday morning helps individuals to meet their needs with divine truth. Our Sunday service and Sunday school begins at 10 a.m. In our Sunday school, children and teenagers learn that God is love, a tangible help in their lives. In our reading room, a quiet sanctuary in this building, you may study, borrow, or purchase the Bible, the Christian Science textbook, the Christian Science Monitor, which is an international weekly news magazine, and other authorized Christian Science literature. But every member of the church has a key. And we will be happy to open the reading room for you by appointment anytime you wish. Everyone is invited to attend their services, use the reading room, and bring the children to Sunday school. You are also welcome to visit our website and our YouTube recordings. Just look for Third Church Miami. The meeting is now open for you to share testimonies, for us to share testimonies of healing and remarks on Christian Science. If you are joining us by Zoom, please don't forget to unmute yourself so we can hear you. Thank you to our musicians and our technical team, not team. And thank you all. Our last hymn is number 77. God is my strong salvation. And what foe have I to fear? In darkness and temptation, my light, my help is near. Though hosts encamp around me, firm in the fight I stand. What terror can confound me with God at my right hand? Number 77.